last week between these two teams, and Toronto walked away with a 2-1 victory on this hybrid map, and so we'll see if they can recreate that success. But once again, the way the map pool works and the map system works, we can see both teams actually just trading off maps as we get through this.
Yeah, like as Matt, someone's going to have to steal something from someone else here. These teams are pretty evenly matched when you look at them. They play a little bit different styles, but you mentioned that they are... It always sounds like an insult, but they're tier 2 right now. And if you look at how the day is shaken out, there are very clearly an upper echelon of North American teams, and then there's really everyone else. But if you can get what they always say in NCAA basketball, now I'm sorry for bringing up normie sports, but if you can just get to the dance, if you can just get to the playoffs, anything can happen. You can go on a crazy run. So it's big for either of these teams to make the next step into reaching that next echelon.
And most definitely, like we had already mentioned, the stakes of this match, the winner of this, getting closer and closer to securing that second spot, getting Contender Season 1. Now, the thing about getting into these tournaments is that you continue to build on that success, get more experience, get stronger and stronger. We saw in North America, it was a little bit difficult to do that because we did have a little bit of a talent drain when teams were going overseas. Now, as the point does unlock, Toronto Esports already sitting on a 2-2-2, triple support defense.
Weird. This is pretty weird, but I like it. I like weird, I like new, and as you mentioned, triple support here is Snow and Onigod are going to have a little bit more freedom now to just kind of go for damage, and both of them can put out a decent amount of damage, and they're going to go with double tank, triple support, Jaru being the only X factor on the defensive Tracer there, because Tracer, you run her in every comp that you have the capability to do so. Offensively, wow, Connor J is actually flexing over onto the Genji, not the grandest of opening appearances on that Genji for me anyways. He dies to a Lucio early on, so just wrapping our heads around these triple DPS versus triple support. Who do you think you should favor just compositionally?
Well, at this point, the issue with the triple support composition is that because the heals are so spread out, it takes them that much longer to actually get their ultimates, right? But once they do, they become a huge powerhouse. Now, it's up to EnVision to find this window to get in. Right now, it's the Cafe that is being contested by EnVision. They're jumping into the back line. Kofi finds the first kill onto Snow, but there's still 2 more supports. Never mind. Onigod is gone as Kofi is able to finish him off.
Kofi is an X factor on this team too. So many Winstons rising throughout this scene. He's actually had himself a couple of games throughout this series. They just gave up the Cafe. Just gave it up. Not even a fight. They rotated around. It's one thing to give up the Cafe for a dive composition. They just walked in. They left the door open. Didn't even need to kick it through. And you know what I feel about that. I feel like Cafe is the spot you fight on Hollywood First. They chose not to, and were punished for it. They fought towards the dumpsters, and I guess that's an apt way to describe what happened.
One of the issues with that is when you're facing off against a dive composition, you need to have space behind you to be able to try and kite, but they cornered themselves. Right. And especially with a very fragile composition like the triple support. Now, Onigod has swapped off Jaru. He's got that pulse bomb at the ready. He's not playing the Genji, but he pulls out the pulse bomb. It doesn't quite connect, but Kofi will, taking out his counterpart. It's a 2-for-1 exchange. Jaru's trying his best to keep this alive. They are trying to contest, but that Diva mech dropping low. He's going to get forced out of his mech. His note is still left. His baby Diva hasn't gone down quite yet, but he will finally. Kofi once again coming up in the kill feed for EnVision.
It's so important for those Winstons to be able to get there and pick them off. Still, I do want to highlight the story with Kate coming in. Connor J so far has done very little. I mean, he's done enough to get played. There he goes, comes alive a little bit and is able to take out what I would consider one of the more hard carries on a team, as Jaru lit it on fire in the qualifiers and in early groups. Definitely a rising star of a player, able to take him out, dashing through right there. And, you know, remember, Toronto Esports was the one who won first Hollywood. So this is a pretty nice first push. I believe they didn't capture second, though, if I recall correctly. So a really important fight here. Connor J busts out the blade.
Yeah, he's going in. There's already 4 kills going over for EnVision. So this team fight largely won already. Now they're just trying to stall for as long as possible on the side of Toronto Esports. Now they've got 5 ultimates for this next fight. There's going to be plenty of time for them to actually come in. So they've got this power advantage up against EnVision.
Well, they've got a bit of a power spike. They're going to have one more ult that really matters. McGravy should be able to get there partway through this fight for EnVision as they continue to roll through. You never give this up for free if you can. This is great positioning by Sadie.
Yeah, the sound barriers come out from both sides, and Tactical Visor comes out from Onigod. He's trying to chunk through the shield of the Lucios, but he is forced back. Sani pops his own, takes out Note, and now no defense matrix there, and he's already picked up 3 kills. Sani comes up huge for EnVision there.
I don't know exactly where that ended up coming off. He was in the great spot up on the roof. As Soldier 76 on the high ground, the important part there was to bully out the other 76. Onigod, he got nothing done, got pushed in there. The Transcend is a great counter to this, and Saney continues to go off. A former European player, he's got one of the deepest pools in the entire tournament, in my opinion. Now, maybe they're not all top 10 heroes, but he can play everything.
Yeah, and that's the trend we're starting to see in Overwatch. Even if you look at a lot of the World Cup national teams, right? They're building for a lot more hero depth in their compositions and in their definite players. Now, we do have Cynic jumping on his right on top of the Tracer, forcing them to blink out. The payload is to be contested. There's the pulse bomb forcing out the Primal Rage from Cynic, while the blade does come out for Connor J. He hasn't found anything yet. There is the Transcendence answered in kind for that. Note does finally take out Kofi.
The stabilizing fight that they needed, it either happens there or you don't fight again until the end. Very difficult to fight in that hallway. So that's the fight that they need. We'll see where they want to set up positionally here. Kofi is going to be the only one about to spike off for the offense here. Can get in here Primal Rage. I don't really see the opening for it yet. It's just going to be a little bit of pokes. Let's see who can win some vanilla Overwatch fights without ultimates.
Yeah, but there's nothing on the side of Toronto Esports, really. They can just get some damage to stick. Primal Rage is going to use. Cynic is dropped low, and now they're trying to hunt him down as he jumps up trying to escape. He will fall to Phazix. Now, Soundbayer comes out on the side of Toronto Esports, but they're already even out in kills, but Snow comes in. 2 quick kills. That's Kofi and McGravy going down. Toronto Esports really getting their footing here on the defense.
It seemed like they were in a decent spot there, too, until those nice kills came in from Snow. The unseen Zenyatta force, the huge DPS, bringing his team back there. Now they will have a power spike. EnVision is going to have their DPS ults. I wonder if Saney is going to try to be running. I think that's what McGravy is doing. He's scouting out over there to see if Saney is going to be able to get a path up top and around. He sees that, no, that door has been shut, so they're going to have to go right up the gut. Saney dies first, though. That means they can't use ults in combination. McGravy with a nice pulse bomb, though, takes out the Lucio.
Yeah, and finds the second one, taking out Onigod. Transcendence is going to get used by Snow, but this team fight, as soon as it's gone, it's going to be largely won by EnVision, forcing them back. They will have another opportunity to contest again as Jaru does go down. And so now Saney, he held on to his tactical visor. We'll see if he takes the high ground.
It's a pretty nice closeout. I mean, you can take this high ground up here. This is exactly where Connor J is looking, up on those stairs, but you can also just stay on the low ground. They have to come to you. This is a defensive force right here as they try to come in. It's a lot of cleave damage. The blade will come out from Jaru. Gets 1, gets 2. That is effectively it, especially when you're on defense. And Connor J will come in and, tell Jaru that he can kill him, but really not the trade that you're looking for at the end.
Yeah, so now EnVision, they've got 1 minute 30 seconds left. They were about 5 meters off from actually finishing off the map there. But it looks like, because remember, this is a hybrid map, it's going to go underneath a minute at this point. As long as Toronto can try and draw this out for as long as possible. We have Onigod, he's on the lurk, he's on the high ground, Hex.
Yeah, he's wondering where everyone is. He's not even hearing any footsteps. He's thinking they all DC'd. Has not seen them. They've all rotated around this side. I believe Kofi's going to try to get in here and just cause a little bit of trouble. No, just going to zone it out again. And the onus is on the defense on here. Speaking of Onigod, comes in with a pulse bomb onto fire. Jaru takes out Connor yet again, and we're getting down to probably the last attack. The problem I've seen with both of these teams, to be honest, is when they have a great window of, we have a couple ults to get in there, one of the people you're relying on with the ults dies first. They've had setups of combinations, oh, they can come into this, they can come into this. It's like, not anymore. I dropped my ult on the way in.
Yeah, we saw even Kofi in that first, I guess, engagement. They're trying to get in from the left-hand side. He dropped down to half HP, had to jump back to a mega health pack, and now it's coming down to the wire. 25 seconds left on the clock for EnVision. Try and complete this out. Connor J just holding on to this Dragon Blade. He's looking for a prime target, but it's the Primal Rage keeping them back from Cynic. He will jump down as the Transcendence comes out, keeping him healthy.
And use him if you got him. Can't take him to your grave. It's now time to do it. Maybe you stall out a little bit and try to stay alive so that your team can come to help. Here comes a blade from Connor J. Time to prove what his Genji has got. He ends up getting a little bit stalled out there. Does get a Lucio in the end. Is it enough? The dash resets come through. They're trading a little bit. Trades will favor the defense. Snow comes in with another charge shot and a kill onto McGravy. And so far, Ice is winning.
Yeah, now it's so crucial, right? When Connor J went for the blade, he immediately tried to go for that Zenyatta, but he was playing so much more safe. Snow, he was holding out right outside of his spawn, was able to kite on back, and we saw towards the end there how much he contributed. Actually, throughout the entirety of this entire map, he was coming up alive on the kill feed on that Zenyatta.
Well, tragically so far, it seems that winter is coming. These are going to be all day, folks. Got them all day Game of Thrones references. If you haven't caught up on Game of Thrones, well, where you been? Right?
I started this. Well, no. We actually had a reference like last week, or was it week number 1?
My life. I just live my life one reference at a time.
I mean, it's been confirmed that Hex is House Bolton, right?
Yeah. Which is why, like, I don't even care about the new season. Like, my hero's dead.
Spoilers.
Well.
Yeah, wow, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I have to come in here, okay?
I don't care.
I am not caught up, okay? And now I'm just going to stop listening to you.
How do you know that you're
Tech, can we turn him off?
Yeah.
All right, so now, EnVision, they had a pretty good push, you know, almost they didn't complete out the map, but 72 meters after second, not bad at all.
I think it's further than they got on the last time
Yeah.
they played Holly against this team, as it was, I believe, 2-1 was the map score. So able to get through. They just blew right through Westworld, just right through it. Was not a problem for them at all. I still question Connor J on Genji. I like the blade getting 1 is expected. I mean, if you don't get anything on a blade, then something terrible happened to you somewhere in there. And I know that Saini can play Genji. So I wonder if we'll see switches if he continues to maybe struggle, or maybe they just know what they're going to get out of Connor J and they're still happy with that. We will have to see. Do you see anything interesting defensively so far, or even offensively at this point?
Defensively, nothing at all. Just looks like business as usual right now for EnVision. They are running that 2-2-2 defense. Connor J once again on that Genji and Saini, who is doing actually a really great job on this Soldier 76.
Look where they're set up, though.
Wow.
They're set up for an ambush up here. This can work. I wonder, it might just be a peek. Maybe Saini's looking for a helix or a charge shot. Yeah, they're just going to get out.
Defense matrix.
There was an era in NA where everyone was playing aggressive on every map, like even Hollywood, which against all things. So nothing would surprise me there. We will go to standard play. And hey, look where Saini set up.
Yeah, he's set up on top of Cafe, but he's got to be careful. If he doesn't have McGravy there to back him up and try and peel for him, Onigod already dropping low as Connor J. Going to go ahead and contest water up top. But now the dive has come on in. They are starting to fall back on the side of EnVision. But are they going to be able to force out Saini?
Well, they do deep dive that Cafe, and Saini ends up taking out Cynic and Oni, who tried to get in there. That is how you catch a dive on Hollywood. Hollywood's early problem that a lot of teams, that there was no first defense, never existed, and you never saw it. It's because teams didn't figure out where is there to retreat, and then teams started playing very far back towards dumpsters. And in the dive comp, it's not a great way to retreat, but you retreat to like downstairs.
Yeah.
You make them uncomfortable, then that's how you catch a dive perfectly. A good first defense from EnVision. We'll see. Nothing changes just yet. Jamer's just going to try to get a blade. I think they should wait for him to get the poke that he needs in and then go in with the blade. Or they can just try to go in right now and dive it again.
They've gotten most of the information, right? We have the supports and the DPS in Cafe. Here are the tanks. Winston's jump is down, so this is possibly a window for them to try and go in or at least get the tick. They've already secured one. Jaro goes in. Connor J down with the blade.
He was dancing on the low ground trying to get something done, but discorded in some good patience there with the dash through as Jaro got him. Jaro's going to have the blade, but he is not going to need it. Able to get another dash through. Dash resets, dash this, dash that. Wasn't there a food flavoring called like Mrs. Dash?
Mrs. Dash.
Genji's wife, must be.
No, I feel like that's one of those spices or spice combinations that just sit in your rack and you don't know what quite to do with Mrs. Dash.
Yeah, no, like no one tells you, hey, do you want lemon pepper chicken? It's like Mrs. Dash chicken. Right? You don't know exactly what the flavor is going to be. Well, that is a lot of ultimates charged up for both sides here. Toronto Esports is able to crack first Hollywood on their second attempt there. We'll see which team is going to be the aggressor here. It looks like that is a wayward dive as Kofi finds himself out in no man's land. The blade from Connor will come out. So far, no damage as the Transcend comes out to deal with it.
Yeah,
Counterblade.
Diva Bomb coming on out. It might actually catch out the Winston. He has to use his Primal Rage. That was Cynic. He's already dropped down about 300 HP. Jarl getting forced back as Kofi finds the first kill onto Snow. So now they've got the man advantage on the side of defense as the Diva Mech is finally forced out. But there is the Sound Barrier tactical visor used by Saini, but it's all Toronto Esports at this point as Jarl kills his counterpart once again.
Hey, absolutely. It was really odd because everyone just threw every ult at each other. I mean, look at the board we have across the top, and they were waiting each other out, but still it was counter upon counter upon counter. They waited out for one blade, got another blade in, but that was transcended out. That one was transcended out. So when the smoke clears here, a little bit of progress with Onigod bringing it back. And I remember like turning to you at the table. We were watching these guys. I'm like, I forgot how good Onigod was, especially at Tracer. I think Tracer is a great hero for him. They had it switched the other way around earlier. So they have some versatility, but Onigod is an exceptional Tracer.
Now, though, EnVision were able to stall out much longer than Toronto were. Remember, Toronto started off with that triple support, point A defense. It didn't work out for them, and so that really did stunt their ultimate gain, right? Their supports, Snow and Luddy, having a very difficult time trying to get the Transcendence along with the sound barrier out, and so from there, they kind of just got snowballed on by EnVision as Only God did swap off onto 76. But now, we have Cynic. He's pushed forward as Connor J finds the first kill onto Luddy. Primal Rage comes out from the side of EnVision as Kofi just pushes forward, but Cynic gets an easy kill onto Connor J, but is that going to be enough? It will, with Only God coming in. That's a two-man pulse bomb, and so now the fight is still on the point, but Kofi hasn't been dealt with. Now Primal Rage comes out from Cynic as he tries to backhand them off the point, forces the Winston back, but now he kites back to try and get onto this D.Va.
It's like when you're fighting with your friend and then you accidentally hurt them and one of them gets mad. He's like, I don't want to play anymore, as he backs away from the opposing Winston with Primal Rage. Saini will take down Cynic towards the end. What has been interesting to me overall on this map is, does no one want high ground? I mean, like, they have, all these fights have been taking place on the ground. No one's really going for high ground control, even though you have a Soldier 76. It's been a little bit interesting. Beautiful pulse bomb there on the replay, though. Pulse bombs have been shaping the game, especially at this level, getting the stick there. Finally, Saini decides that high ground is worth it. He's going to have Visor up too, so Connor might be just up there playing bait. Obviously, he's trying to get poke damage right now, but hoping someone comes up so that Saini can come up over the top. Again, you have to deal with the D.Va first and foremost here, but if Note uses a self-destruct and it's a great area for it, then Connor's just going to hit it, or Saini's going to hit it right away.
Oh, Saini gets hunted down, goes down to Oni God, but it's going to be a one-for-one exchange. This time, Connor J getting the better of Jaro. Now, we do have the fight over on the left-hand side in the back alley of the studio lot here, as McGravy is going to be able to force out Note's mech with the self-destruct, and so the defense really established themselves so far here in the West World portion.
That's what I'm talking about. They wanted to sound barrier and then use the visor, and Saini died right before that could happen for him. It's just been a second late, day late, dollar short, whatever you want to call it, but these combos are being cut short all the time. However, just a little over a minute here, which means 2 pushes at best. People forget when you get the cart this way through that it's a pretty long reinforcement. Baby D.Va out here though, and it's a long walk back to spawn, putting her in a rough position. Bomb comes over top. Bomb's been effective all day, but that's not a Jesus bomb. That does not find anything to open the fight. McGravy was finally sent back to spawn.
Oh, Kofi focusing down Snow there, and that's one of the issues we were talking about, right? TO, they really do need to prioritize keeping their supports alive as Only God finally cleans him up, and so now it's going to be a one-for-one exchange. The respawns are coming on in, but it's going to be Saini pushing forward, gets the headshot onto Jaru. Now the man advantage going over once again for the defense, and they have been so stalwart so far. Toronto not able to crack it.
Yeah, Saini can end this one right now. It's going to be
held on to that for so long.
I mean, held on to or was forced to not use.
True.
I guess one or the other. We'll see if he gets it off this time. Not even going to try to take the elevator up. Every time that he's been trying to set up top, he's gotten picked off a little bit. But last push incoming for Toronto Esports. The good thing for them is both of their DPS have their ultimates up. We've seen how impactful both of these players can be. Of course, priority 1 is trying to get D.Va out of the mech. Maybe that's where the blade goes. After that, we'll see how it happens.
Jaro already dropped down super low, but the Transcendence comes on now for both sides. Jaro was able to get the first frag onto Connor J, but still, Transcendence is there, along with the sound barrier for EnVision. They are still playing a man down now as they are jumping into the back line, but he's going to receive so much effort. There we go. As the Winston jumps on in with the sound barrier, but here's the self-destruct coming out from McGravy. Is it going to connect it? It is going to force out the mech. Counter self-destruct coming out from No, but neither of these actually could quite connect him. Phasix will with the Orb of Destruction. Now, Toronto are starting to fight back as Jaro finds a kill onto Saini, but it's still being contested by Kofi on the point right now. He's got the Orb on him. He's dropping low. He's trying his best to kite back, and he will stay alive.
That's such an important kill from Phasix because that self-destruct came out to get a new mech, and he killed her while she was out of mech. Back to spawn. No new toys for you, D.Va. Still back and forth on the card here. Oni's going back. Wow, a huge jump in. Takes away there. D10? Is that a D10 moment?
D10 moment, indeed, I guess. But that was really unfortunate because overtime had been ticking on for so long. Even just jumping off for a split second there, the overtime candle just burns on out real quick. So that's going to be EnVision walking away with Hollywood, and this is exactly what we were talking about at the start of this matchup, right? One of these teams just have to be able to take the map off the expected win.
They needed that one. That was big for them. I still worry a little bit just about the crispness of both of these teams. It just seemed like a little bit sloppy on both sides, and maybe some of that is nerves. You know, they know what's on the line, and both of them have not necessarily played at the highest levels. They don't necessarily have players across the board who have been at LAN, who have been veterans on teams. I guess the closest would be maybe Saney has been a veteran on a lot of different teams, has played some of the highest competition in the world. But I think maybe a little nerves, because there were just times where, guys, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Is yeah, total. Oh, man. Sorry, guys.
And I don't even know if it was nerves at the very end there. I thought that they were on the cart. So yeah. I think they even thought they were on the cart. But you talk about the entirety of the map. Yeah, definitely nerves. And when you land a 2-man pulse bomb and you nullify the opposing Winston ult, and you still can't pull through with that team fight victory, I don't even think if they had stayed